Hello guys and welcome back to 240 Mile Podcast. It's me, Chloe.
And me, Charlie.
And we are back today with another episode 3, which is going to be mostly about the word we can probably not even put in the title. But it's going to be about the virus.
I think we can at this point.
Yeah, I feel like
think
it's
we
fine.
Can.
So, just a quick disclaimer, because I think we have to, don't we? Nothing we say in this video is advisory. Is that the right way of saying it?
Oh, I'll be giving you advice, don't we?
But please take it with a pinch of salt. You're not medical professionals. Don't sue us.
We won't give you any doctor advice. We will give you common sense advice.
Yes, of course. That's basically just a disclaimer done then. Really quickly, so just so how have you been doing for the last week? What's the highlight of your last week?
Really not much.
How's your week in quarantine, lockdown? We're back to the national lockdown. We're nearly at the end though. By the time you see this, we'll probably have 5 days of the lockdown left.
No, it's on the 3rd, so when did this go up?
This would go up
Sunday
the
3rd day, so that'll
29th.
Be the Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. 4 days.
Yeah, 4 days. So how's your lockdown going? Leave it down below. I think ours was been pretty good. I want to talk about in the next podcast about what we've been doing in lockdown and our thoughts on it, so we won't really mention it too much. But yeah, no, this week's been good. I just submitted my UCAS application, so that's really the highlight of my week. So I'm very happy.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I nearly applied for Liverpool uni, but I had too many ones to choose from. So yes.
And what Liverpool didn't make the cut?
Well, I nearly did, but it's between Liverpool and Bristol, and I don't want to move that far. I want to kind of stay this kind of south of the UK.
You just don't want to be a northerner again. You can admit it.
No, it's not I don't want to be northerner, it's just, I made the move, I want to try somewhere new in the UK. Right, so we're getting to the juicy stuff of this.
We'll move
Before we
on.
get into what we're going to say.
Because I haven't really done anything this week, at all.
You did online,
except for schoolwork, but it's been stressful.
You proofread my personal statement. That was probably the highlight of your week. No?
I've done a couple all-nighters for no reason, other than it just happened like that.
Yeah. So, right, so let's talk about all the COVID stuff that happened. So we're going to date back quite a while, so just tell people when it's dated to.
Well, to start with, I mentioned this briefly in, I think, our Stardew Valley thing we did, but I've taken, if my throat sounds awful, I'm sorry. I swear this is as strong as it's been all day. But, so I've taken 3 COVID tests so far, all negative, thankfully, and I've done them all myself, and the first one I did was the week after your birthday, right?
Yeah, it was.
Just not paying it.
Sorry, I went to go and get a drink, so I was like, better not talk because I'm going to have to mute myself anyway. So I was moving.
So I need to do 2 more next week before I can go home, but I'll talk about that later. I want to do another one this week anyway,
so
but basically, yeah. But basically, so back in October, you may remember we mentioned that the COVID restrictions were lighter in general.
Yes, the highlight of my 3 months.
Yeah, 6 people outside and all that stuff. It wasn't as strict. Well, we'll just say a few of my classmates didn't apply some logical common sense to what they were doing during COVID, and we'll leave it at that. Two of my flatmates got COVID, and 2 others of my flatmates are high risk. So, and I found out all of this while I already knew that 2 of them were high risk, right? So I was, taking the necessary precautions, as you do. And when I was home for Chloe's birthday, we had I got a text from one of them saying that she needed to book a COVID test because she had symptoms.
I remember I was at work when you got that message, and no one told me till 2 days after. And you were about to get back home. You're like, oh yeah, I'm about to get back home and be on COVID.
No, I told you as soon as we were I had the opportunity to.
Yeah, because by that point, like, kind of unsure what was going to happen anyway.
Well,
Track and Trace is an amazing
At first,
app.
it was that she wasn't sure she had it. She just had accepted the symptoms she had was lack of taste, and also she had it for a couple of days, and then she went to a party the night before she told us. So we're like, wonder why you didn't mention it as soon as you lost it. Can't imagine why. But like, so I found out while I was there, and at first I was like, should I come back? And I was like, obviously I've got to come back up north, because it's like I could already have it anyway, and it doesn't make sense to quarantine down south anyway. So I came back up, and this was causing like some drama within our flat.
I just want to point out, because the way it made it sound, you didn't think you had it. If you did, you would have stayed. You wouldn't have travelled and gone public transport with it. Just want to point that out.
No. It was, the question was, I didn't want to go back and get infected, but I was like, and I
wouldn't have gone to work if we thought you had. Like, we would have been a lot more like self-isolated immediately if we actually thought you had it.
Yeah, like I hadn't had any contact with these people. It was just like I might as well go back. Same risk, weighing up the risk benefit. So I went back, and it was like causing like a schism between people, but which was fun. But so I had to take my first COVID test that week, and it first of all, I don't know. So I want everyone to put in the comments how many times they've had to do a COVID test, / if they've had to do it at all, / did someone do it for you, or did you do it for yourself?
Because I could not do it to myself. I think I told you I could not get a COVID test. I actually think I'd rather cry than get a COVID test. I mean, I probably end up, that's not dramatic. I think I'd rather just self-isolate for 14 days than get a test that says it's negative.
Still a risk.
Yeah, but then you only have to quarantine for 10 days. But I'd rather just do the extra 4 days in quarantine and not get a test. Or pay the money to get the private test where you basically like the antibody one. I don't think I could do a test.
It's not that bad.
I know, but it's the thought of it.
But, because I was also really stressed out about it. But basically, so all of the videos I've seen, or everyone I've seen talking about it has been American.
Yeah,
and the way it works. Yeah, for them it was always that someone did it for them. And like that's everything I've seen. That was not how it worked here. I went in, they gave me the swab with the tube in. I had to take the swab out the tube without touching the tube because germs. I had to do the whole test on myself, and then I had to isolate for 10 days. And the way that for the test, for those who don't know, you have a long swab. It's probably a couple of inches long. You stick it in your throat. You have to find your tonsils, which are surprisingly easier to see than I thought they were. But you have to find them. Then you have to rub it on like 5 times 5 seconds even on one side, and then switch into the other one. And then you stick it up your nose until you feel a pressure and you turn it. And so I did that. It took me way too long because I kept gagging while trying to do the tonsil one. Nose one, I'm fine with. I've done that a billion times.
I feel like
it doesn't bother me.
I would be the other way around. Because I can't deal with
everyone
the
else is the other way around.
I feel like
everyone's the other way around. And I'm like, the nose one's fine. It's the sticking stuff down my throat. It triggers my gag reflex so badly. But the nose one is just like, it's a little bit of pressure, I'll live. But so you have to, you do it to yourself, then you hand it back, and then you leave, and then eventually they send the results back, and it'll take, in my case, it keeps taking longer to send mine back, or the first 2 times it took longer to send mine back than anyone else's, which is nice and stressful, Just
to keep you on your edge.
Yeah, just to make sure you're especially afraid of this. And so I did the first one and it came back negative, and we started to isolate for 10 days, I think it was. Since when the people first got their symptoms. Ironically, one of them left 2 days later, which was annoying.
By the time you got out of quarantine, you're probably back in quarantine, no?
No, we had a few weeks, but we were stuck in the flat and we got food and stuff, so it wasn't too bad. And the 2 of my flatmates who are high risk went home for like 2 weeks, so it was sort of like me and another flatmate and the 2 flatmates who'd had it were sort of like the only 4 people in the flat. So it was interesting for 2 weeks, but we adjusted before everyone came back. And like then you had like a nice period of time where no one had to worry and everything was great and it wasn't a concern. And then we basically, like, I mentioned this on the Stardew Valley thing, but I mentioned there that I don't want to go into too much detail about it. One of my flatmates had a medical emergency. It's happened before and it'll happen again. It's one of those things. But I had to give her mouth to mouth, which is fine, because she had done a COVID test prior to this and gotten her results back the day before, so I knew she was negative.
Not gonna lie,
it would have been fine anyway.
If it came to that point, no matter they're positive or not, like that's not the thought that's gonna cross your brain.
It was fine anyway, but I mean from the perspective of us talking about COVID, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, from the perspective of us
Sorry,
talking
I
about
can't
COVID,
save your life right now, you have COVID.
However, she was obviously she's one of the flatmates who was at risk for dying if she had COVID, like at really high risk. So I was like, okay, what if I have COVID? What if I'm the asymptomatic carrier? And I gave her mouth to mouth. And I gave her COVID. Like, what if, And it was one of those things where I think I just thought after everything happened, I had way too much adrenaline. And I was like, so, it was like the one thing I could find to obsess over after everything was over. But
I can't believe you did that, gave someone mouth to mouth. I feel like I got to that situation. I obviously I've done CPR training, but I don't. Do you guys remember it? Because I feel like I wouldn't be don't remember if I try and think about it.
I've never been taught how to do mouth to mouth.
You're not? I got taught how to do on a dummy, and then I passed my course with like a stupid gold certificate. I mean, it's not stupid. I'm sure it would come in handy.
The high school one, the secondary school ones.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah, and then I had to do another one for my leadership course.
We got taught how to do CPR, but we didn't get to do it. They just sort of gave us a demonstration of the beat. It wasn't like a super in-depth course, and we never learned how to do mouth to mouth.
I know, I got a dummy, and the dummy gave you a rating, and then it was like, I am dead, or I am alive. It was great.
I didn't get that. Mine
the
was not that
budget was increased
interactive.
in the 2 years between mine and yours. But it was like, the dummy would literally go after you did it, like it would make this weird deep breathing sound. It was a bit weird. And then it was kind of like, if it didn't, it was like, do, and then it would go, you didn't save the life, or you did save the life. Like, it would make a noise. Yeah, it was quite, it was so inaccurate as well, because some people literally just punch it in the stomach, but like, not even in the right place, and it'd be like, yeah, you saved the life. No, you didn't. Or maybe you did, but I don't think you did. But yeah, carry on with the COVID story. I've digressed.
But we never had that. The person, so my other flatmate, so the way we split everything was like, I went to get a charger because as luck would have it, of the 3 of us there, 2 of us had dead phones and only one of us had a working phone, and she was the one who was having the attack, and she had to I will say she's very functional when this stuff happens. Like, she knows beforehand. She does all like the EpiPen stuff herself. She can call the ambulance. She can give them her information. She can go through the whole diagnostic stuff. Like, so she's, thankfully she's good with that. But like, we were like, we need to call reception, but we can't because both of our phones are dead and the only phone that's working is being used to call the ambulance. So I had to go out into the hall, call the ambulance and get the charger and stuff, while the other one collected all her stuff into a bag. And then we were on the phone with the, I guess like the receptionist at the hospital, whoever takes that phone call. Like, I don't know, whoever's job it is to take the phone call when you call them. The other person with us was on the phone to them, and she taught me how to do it the first time. And then she did it really slowly the first time, which I get, because you want to make sure people do it right. But then it got to like, she carried on talking, doing it really slowly the next several times they had to do it, and I was just like, I don't. I've already done it. You haven't even got past like the tilt her head back and I'm done. Like, but yeah. So they talk you through how to do it, so it's not too bad.
Talk you through CPR?
Yeah, no, just mouth to mouth. I didn't do CPR, thankfully. I don't think I would have had the guts. I mean, I guess I would have, but I don't want to think about what it would have been like. What?
But you hear them like cases of like babies. What's that sleep thing? Sleep paralysis? And like parents just know how to do it. I feel like it's just an instinct that you just know how to do it. But I just feel like I wouldn't, or I'm gonna like end up bruising them quite badly.
The other thing, you're meant to do it hard enough that you can break their bones. Because like my flatmate who's done it has had her stand broken so many times from people having to do it to her that she's like, if you do it, it will break, and you need to be okay with the fact that you will break it. And I was like, I don't think I will be. Like, I'm sure I'll get over it, but like, Jesus. But
Carry on.
No, you can go.
I was just saying, I find it crazy that you've had so many like. Because this isn't the first time that you've had to call an ambulance.
No, so it happened before, but it wasn't that. It was that serious. We just didn't need to give her mouth to mouth, at least not when I was there. Like I said, I don't want to talk about it too much, but I will say that the paramedics are really annoying when they're dealing with illnesses that people don't know a lot about. Like, it's either 6 people in the entire country or 6 people in the entire world who have the same issue as she does.
How many? 6?
I think it's very rare.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's like, you know, like, people don't. You have to try and explain it to the paramedics, and the first time to both the paramedics were just horrible people. Honestly, they were just so rude. The second time, I don't really remember one of the paramedics.
We love our NHS, just want to point that out. We do love them. There's a certain, there's exceptions.
This is the paramedics, not the NHS. Well, I guess they're also the NHS.
Saying they're part of the same.
I do not love paramedics. Learn how to listen to your patients, please, because like
I don't agree with
there
her.
Two
I
of
love
them.
you.
3 of them. There are 3 of them, right? One of them was fine and was listening to me. There are a few points where he ignored me and it annoyed me, but I was like, you know what? You're making the effort to listen to me when I try to explain. Because like I have the sheet with all of her everything on that they need to know, and I remembered a lot of it. That like, you're listening to me when I explain the issue, when I explain what she's done, when I explain what you can and can't do, and what you have to do when she gets to the hospital, and so on and so forth. And that's good, and I appreciate that. But the woman was so rude. She was like, the first one where she tried to argue that she shouldn't have taken as much she shouldn't have taken as many EpiPens as she did, or as frequently as she did. Hold on, I need water. Sorry, I'm doing a dramatic pause for effect.
What did you say? 9 3/4?
No, I needed some water.
Oh, I needed some water.
She was like...
No, I was going to say, I'll cut this up. I'm going to leave that in just to like show how dodgy Discord can be.
Well, I think it's just the mic I'm using for Discord, not for the actual thing. But, so like, she was like, the first thing she did was argue over like how much of the EpiPen she should have taken and how frequently, and we were like, she knows what she's doing, she's had this for years, she knows, like, she's correct, she's not taking the, you judging it means nothing. And then it was that she was like, oh, they're not even real, like grabbing and waving her arm around while she's like feeding up, like, that's not even like a real seizure. It's like, are you kidding me? Because like, it's this other thing, but like, it was so annoying. I was getting so annoyed, so I had to keep like arguing with them to try and get them to listen to me. But like, the point is, she lived. I figured out what I was doing, and she lived, and she was fine.
And the point is, I'm attending your funeral Wednesday, so there won't be a podcast.
Jesus. No, but you know, she's okay. But like, I was like super paranoid afterwards, because she went off in the ambulance, and she just left me there with like all this adrenaline from everything that had happened, and it just didn't wear off for days. I was just like so on edge for days afterwards.
That's a feeling I crave though, not that kind of feeling, but adrenaline in general is like, I love it. Yeah.
No, it's bad.
No, I love it. I'm an adrenaline junkie though, we know that. So yeah, you've been tested a lot. And they got a test after that.
So like all of the adrenaline just tunneled into like, oh my god, what if I gave a COVID? What if I gave? So I ordered a test because that's we'll discuss Liverpool's whole testing thing in detail in a minute. But Liverpool had a testing thing now, so I can order a test, and I did. I did the thing, and I sent it off, and I still haven't got the results back from it for some reason, even though it's been weeks. And like, because it took a couple of days and everyone else's only took one day, I was like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. So we have a walk-in centre, again, talk about that in a minute. We have a walk-in centre on the university site, which is run by the military, which is super fun. So I went there and
sorry, I was like, you're waiting for me to say something. I'm like, yes.
No, so I went there and got my results back within the hour, but like it was such an awkward process because you go through and they're like trying to be nice and like make conversation with you, but there's not much small talk you can have.
Yeah. Wait,
one of you is a university student and the other one of you is a military officer currently manning a COVID testing station. Like, there's not much small talk can go on in this situation. You know, you're just sort of like, they're like, oh yeah, so what have you done this week? And you're like, yeah, nothing, because we're in a lockdown. They're like, yeah. And you're like, so what have you done? It's like, yeah, nothing, because we've been here all week. It's like, yeah, so...
Was it busy, like, the walking centre? Because, funny enough, you say this, but because I'll explain a situation that happened last week, actually, in a minute. But when I looked into going to a walking centre, the nearest one to us is also a university.
Yeah.
I think.
So, well, did that one take 3 walk-ins?
Well, yeah, it takes walk-ins, but people are also saying it's better to book because the walk-in centres...
No, asymptomatic is what I meant. Did it take asymptomatic walk-ins?
Well, this is... so a lot of people say it's pretend to have a symptom. But I don't.
Because that's what was other than the asymptomatic one.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. There was like, oh, it's really if you get an asymptomatic one, it's really busy. But I don't know if that one was asymptomatic. They said say you have a symptom and try and get something else.
Because like if we go to the symptomatic one, there's not as many people there. It's like a tiny cabin.
Oh, really?
And you usually have one or two people at once.
That's not too bad.
It's not like a tiny cabin. It's like, you know, there's like vans that used to come to school and you could go inside them and sit
the
down
giraffes.
And do the puppet. Yeah, with the giraffe and the anatomy guy.
What's that
called?
I'm going to look that up now because I want to know what it's called.
I cannot remember. But it's like the size of one of those, like, so you can go and get your test done. But the asymptomatic one is our entire gym.
Oh, wow.
So there was like several, like all of the booths were filled. I didn't see anyone. I saw 2 people in front of me in the queue, but I didn't see anyone. Like all the booths were filled up and stuff. So it's like kind of busy, but it's not a long wait, you know?
Yeah.
But because it's asymptomatic and everyone gets tested, and it's mainly students and teachers, but everyone else can too.
It's called Life Education, by the way, that fan. Life Education Centres.
If you want to know how big it was, look one of them up.
They have a little giraffe on it. Depending where you come from in the UK, the giraffe looks a bit different, which is a bit weird. But yeah, yeah, look up.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. What do you mean it looks different?
Like some of them are like the designs of the fan are different. For example, one of the giraffes is a person in this one, and then the other ones are like the ones we had where the giraffe's at the end and then there's kids like lined up.
Yeah, I see that one. That's what we had.
Yeah, that's one we had. But yeah, no, that was a highlight.
Oh yeah, there's one with its like hands out. What is that? Oh, with it lying down. That's so weird.
3 different designs by the looks of it. But yeah, no one can see what we're talking about. I might insert a photo now just for the...
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I feel like I have to insert some photos.
But yeah, so it's like a van. And that one's usually empty because 1, it's for uni students, and I guess uni teachers only, and 2, it's, you know, you have to have a symptom. But the asymptomatic one's pretty busy apparently. I want to go get another test done there today.
Today?
Not today. Huh. Yeah, today. It's 8 p.m. I'm planning to go at 11. We need to wrap this. No, so this week I meant. So either tomorrow or Thursday.
I thought you were being serious and I was like, wait, is it open that late? You just walk in at 11 p.m? I was like, wait.
No, I think it's 9 to 5. Actually, I don't know. I actually don't know. I'll look that up too.
So you have to get... When do you come back? Friday. Or this Friday.
Next Friday.
Next
the 4th.
Yay.
So I
And then
will
you're
not be back when it's
because
uploaded.
COVID kind of worked in our favour.
Yeah, but I've got work.
I know. Are you going to go back to your job? Are we digressing?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about that.
No, I know you don't, but I was just curious. I don't get to talk to you other than this podcast, so... Wait, did I ever tell you about my little moment that we had at college? So I won't mention names. I'm going to be very vague because I don't want to, get people into trouble. But basically, a girl had a test on a Sunday night, and on the Wednesday she got the results and it was positive, but she got it during a chemistry lesson. And she went to school with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I wasn't asked to self-isolate because I hadn't come in contact with her and and I think she was a year below. But obviously everybody's really annoyed because it's like, why did you come into college whilst you're waiting for results? But apparently it's just part of the government scheme to get tested regularly. A bit like what they're doing in Liverpool, but they're trying to introduce it in certain areas. So it wasn't her fault. If anything, we wouldn't have known otherwise. But one of my friends had to get a test because her mum works with newborn babies. And I'm really I spend so because I sit next to her in school and things. So hers came back negative. I mean, it doesn't mean I don't have it, but it gives me quite a confidence boost that school, NHS app, basically everybody said you don't need to self-isolate, and then I got that test result as well. So that's pretty good. But a terrifying moment in my life. But yeah, it's actually not too bad. The worst that was going to happen is I just do online school. It's not like I have anything else going on in my life because restaurants are closed at the moment. So it'd be fine.
Yeah, you're very sad about that. I'm not going to let you be angsty about that.
I'm happy that, that we get a break before Christmas, but I don't know. Yeah, I am kind of sad, but I have nothing to do. But yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's really convenient. You'd be able to go get a test if you're slightly worried.
Yeah.
My 2 flatmates who've had it haven't gone to get another test because they're like, well, we've had it, we're good for another 3 months. And here's where my advice comes in. That's not how it works. But,
which one was it?
By the way.
What was your advice?
Oh, I whispered it. You'll find out in the post. That's not how it works. Basically, it's not that's not how the virus works. You can still get it. You can get it and have it be worse. You can get it and have it be better. You can get it and be asymptomatic.
I am tempted to go and get just a test anyway before restaurants reopen next week because I'd feel guilty to say the least. But yeah.
If the test is basically you should get tested anyway, even if you've had it recently. But they're not. But it's convenient to I mean, I think one of them's definitely, even though we're in a strict lockdown and everything's closed down, she keeps...
Right, guys, we just had a technical difficulties, so that's why there's a little bit of a cut.
We had a people difficulty, actually.
We had more people. We didn't know our mics were... Well, I didn't know the mic was broken, or just no one was talking, so that's just me going, hello. But no one was talking. But, Liverpool...
yeah, no, someone can. But I was saying,
yeah, my back and
stuff, so I'm still paranoid, so I'm like...
Yeah, but you're going to get a test right before you come back down. And, isolate.
I have to get 2.
2? Why?
To make sure that I'm not bringing the COVID down to you.
Is that a law?
That's the rule, apparently.
Oh, no way. Well, I mean, that's kind of good, it's not going to lie,
Also, I realised me talking about COVID while my throat sounds like this sounds weird.
Well, yeah,
I just haven't got a lot of sleep, so it's creating
I had that
unrelated.
not that long ago. Do you remember that time when I lost my voice because I strained my vocal cord? Literally about a month ago, 2 months ago.
Oh, that's not what this is. I'm just tired, so I'm, my throat is committing suicide. I just wanted to clarify this is unrelated. My throat is just dying because I haven't slept.
So we did touch on the COVID testing in Liverpool. So what you explain what that is because I don't really understand it.
So basically, the government rolled out a scheme that I believe is called MAST or something. It's mass asymptomatic Something testing.
Mass asymptomatic testing. That'll be it.
Yeah, but it's like...
Yeah, but
okay.
it's the government.
I think the serial testing, mass asymptomatic serial testing is mass. I was right. But basically what they're doing is you can order a test online or go to the walk-in centre, which is on the university site.
Yes, okay.
And just get a test whenever you want, even if you don't have symptoms, which is way better. Because we all know by this point that it can be asymptomatic. We all know it's equally as infectious, and there's no reason to assume why you can only only people with symptoms should be.
I declined a test, so I agree with this. I think it's better that you should be able to get a test if you want a test, because they declined me on my test last week. That's why I said I had symptoms to try and get a test, but in the end I didn't go because my friend got one anyway. And I felt kind of bad because by that point I was like, I feel guilty, so I'm lying to say I have a symptom to get a test. So.
I mean, don't.
What?
Just cough a few times. It's their fault. They should be giving out free tests to everyone. It shouldn't be. So I'm glad they're doing this in Liverpool, and I'm hoping it does slow down infection rates a little. Even though a lot of people are still being very dumb.
At least in the rural where we used to live, it definitely has.
I'm glad because some people are still having flat parties and stuff in our block.
Really?
Which is annoying, and I think those people are probably the kind of people who aren't getting tested, but hopefully more people are getting tested and that'll reduce it. And yes, really.
I mean, so without going into too much detail about where down south, I don't know, maybe I'm just not educated as well on it, but for example, last week when I went to go and get a test and I literally got declined, even though there was a potential, maybe it was a small potential because they were saying that I wasn't in the seats, or seats surrounding where she was, and sanitising and things like that would have occurred. I was still declined a test. So, I don't know, I feel like in a way, North is it's probably because you guys had such a high R rate for so long. You were put into tier 3.5, I guess.
Well, the R rate down south is really high too. The thing is that the R rate down south is they're not testing people down south.
That's
so
what
there aren't as many big crowds.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know. So as we're filming this, it's currently Tuesday. So we find out what tiers we're on Thursday. I would not be surprised if down south was in tier 3, the high.
Well, it won't be because they haven't tested enough people for it to be in tier 3.
But
that's the problem.
It
They're only
can't
testing
be in tier 1 because we do actually have quite a few people. I know Windsor Maidenhead were basically sent out a letter to schools being we've understood that people aren't following the proper protocol and send this thing out being you guys need to follow it to keep the R rate down because it's starting to rise quite drastically. But I think you guys are testing
more because people are getting...
I feel like this is crazy.
They don't want to test asymptomatic people because they don't want to boost the rate of how many positive tests they're getting and how many infected people they're getting because it looks bad. The entire issue. It looks bad. If they have if they tested asymptomatic people, it would triple the amount of people who... My throat is really dry. It would triple the amount of people who they can list as their infected cases, and they know that. It would between double and triple it. It would massively increase it, and they know that if they tested everyone. Hang on.
So but the thing for me was firstly not being able to get a test, and also just kind of you're looking. You know what bothers me about this second lockdown or this second peak is we are testing so many more people. So it's almost it looks like it's worse than the first wave, but it's just because we're testing so many more people. That's
the other thing. We never had a first wave. The wave never went down. I don't know what people are... I get that some people decided that they could go back to their normal life. We didn't have a drop in cases. I don't know what y'all were doing. We had a drop in testing. We did not have a drop in infection rates.
I feel like it dropped a little bit when they started to reopen the economy, but not enough. It was still way too high.
It did not drop.
What I don't understand is they closed schools, and then we're like, oh yeah, that's a bad mistake. If anything... I'm not saying we should close schools this time. That's a matter of opinion. But shouldn't it have been the same for both? Were schools really required to be closed for 6 months?
Well, the thing with this lockdown is that,
it's not a full lockdown.
And first of all, It's not going to work.
It's not going to work because the people going to school...
They're reopening it in
feel like we're getting
December.
into debate.
COVID's not going to take a nap for Christmas. It'd be nice if it did, but it's not.
Did you see, I put a poll on my Instagram story asking people which option they'd rather have, like 5 days Christmas or a month of lockdown. And I was shocked by the amount of people were like 5 days Christmas. I think it's just one of the ones where it's kind of like, I think it was a third to people, like about a third to 2/3. And like the majority of people did just want to skip Christmas this year kind of thing. But
my thing is that like we should have the
lockdown.
month of lockdown anyway. What?
It's not. I think we need a full lockdown because at the moment there's people who aren't taking it seriously because they're in college, they're in school. I'm seeing my friend in school. Why can't I see them when I leave the school gates? You get me?
I say that I'm hoping what will happen is that he'll let people have Christmas and then he'll crack down on it and he'll take that as his like excuse. Like, because realistically what needs to happen, not to tell the people in charge how to do their jobs, but 100% to how to
How's talking going?
100% to tell them how to do their jobs because they're not doing them correctly. What they need to do, shut down everything again, shut down schools, shut down restaurants, completely enforce 2 meter distances, completely enforce distancing, completely enforce masks. They never enforced masks the first time, and that was one of the biggest spreading points. Completely make testing free and available to people.
Make
so
it
you
a bit
can
more
avoid...
like Italy, make it military, bring them in and like fully crack down on people for leaving the house. And as much as I'm going to be the first one to say, oh, I wouldn't want that, obviously I don't, I work in hospitality, I miss my job now. They should have done that this month that we've just had. I feel like this last lockdown, I don't want to say it's a waste, I'm sure it did help. I think it did actually start helping.
I don't think it did.
Over the last week, I think we had a small drop, but it was never going to fully work unless we went into a full lockdown. It's almost kind of like, we closed the economy, we're going to reopen it for a month, we're going to close it. This is even worse for the economy. Then it would be just to close
the economy. The problem with the economy is an economy is useless if everyone's dead, and that's what they're missing. They're putting so many people at risk. But what's happening here is so many people are dying. There's not going to be a point where the economy is fine. At the rate they're going with pushing the economy and people, there's not going to be a point where the economy is fine. Workers are going to die quickly. The people who attend the restaurants are going to die quickly. It is not going to work.
It's not that fatal of a thing though in comparison to others. It's just kind of like the infection rate is so high. I feel like if you're not preventing it from just affecting everybody, then you're going to lose that kind of older generations or that more vulnerable population.
You're going to use everyone else as well, like.
And then eventually it will mutate, and like you said, it could get to a point where it's kind of beyond our control, and it's like the side effects of even having this like virus. You don't even know what that's going to be.
Yeah, because like even if you're a healthy person, it's causing brain damage, it's causing pneumonia, it's causing development issues in children, it's causing so many problems that nobody seems to consider. You don't know what's going to cause in like
5 years' time. Is it going to end up? Is there like some part
everything
still
we can predict is basically us going, hey, this is kind of this causes pneumonia. We know what pneumonia causes, so we know this will cause the same thing as pneumonia. That's the best we can do. The new stuff that's coming, and there's like it's giving people chronic fatigue syndrome, which has a different name, but it's not legally recognised, and I can't remember it. It's like MFS or something. But chronic fatigue syndrome. A lot of people are developing chronic fatigue syndrome.
MOS.
No. Different thing. It's basically where it's a very under-researched thing because it was put down to a psychological thing for years, but it's not. It's basically where your nervous system completely shuts down if you experience a trauma. In this case, the virus is a trauma to your body because your body can't handle it, so you have your nervous system shuts down. And like the amount of people we're going to be seeing dealing with that, like spiking within the next year or two. And no one's equipped to deal with it, and that's also going to total the economy because that is a massive disability, and it's because it's all this focus on reopening the economy is only thinking about we need to improve the economy right away, when the actual issue here is if you're that desperate, like we have a lot of money. The UK is not a poor country.
Well, I was going to say we have quite a high GDP per capita.
Yes, we have a lot of money and we have a lot of areas that it's in, and we can very easily move those funds around. They don't want to, and they don't want to discuss the possibility of doing it, but they can move funds around. We don't need to, like, that is a possibility when you're in a crisis.
Also,
you
the one
move
thing
money.
You can't really fault the one thing you can't really fault our government for is the way they have dealt with unemployed. Well, in ways they've done their best with a furlough scheme. Comparing to countries like America, that's one I know mostly about when they did a stimulus check, which I believe was only $1,200, varying on like how much you earn and how many kids you have. But that's basically the base in the majority of people got. I think our government has dealt with keeping the economy open. I think they not even open, like keeping people safe from that point of view. But it's almost like they were too generous. So now they're panicking, thinking, well, people need to go back to work so we can carry on doing this. In a way, I'm happy because,
No, they have the money to carry on doing it. They're panicking because what they're thinking is they need to keep shares and stuff afloat. Is why there was all that thing about airlines at the beginning.
Yeah. I think there's a mixture right now.
Business shares go down, and that crashes our economy against the rest of the world as opposed to per person.
If it's not a full lockdown, I don't think there's any point doing it. I think at the moment, what we're doing right now, going in and out of lockdown by closing the economy but not actually fixing the problem, that's just going to result in a recession that isn't even beneficial in any way. There's no benefit of this lockdown we just did, except for you had just caused.
Well, no, because I don't think it was long enough. But I think what they need to do is even if this means we get Christmas, but the thing with giving us Christmas is it causes a massive spike in deaths, and we're going to see that, and it's going to suck.
I can't wait for them to blame us in January. He's going to
lock it down in either January. He's going to lock it down between, I'd say, the 27th and January 1st. He's going to lock it down. It won't be Boxing Day. It'll be a few days later, probably January 1st, because it'll be a nice round date for him.
No,
he'll do a hard lockdown, and then at the end of the month he'll look back and go, look, we didn't have that many deaths, because what he'll do is he'll average it out. Which isn't how you do it. That's not a lot of deaths and then very little doesn't work out.
He said that he's going to keep everything open to, I think it's still the 28th. But what he says, he doesn't want to he wants people to still be able to celebrate New Year's, I swear. I heard somewhere that, I don't know how true that is, but he wants to be able to celebrate New Year's and celebrate all this kind of stuff. What's your thoughts on the vaccine though? Do you want to get it or
I'll see how it goes. I think it was a surprise that it sort of came out of nowhere.
It did, but I'm kind of happy they did it
we knew people were researching it, but it was it was an impossible thing, and then all of a sudden it existed.
I know, it's kind of crazy. There's currently 3. I was saying I'm definitely not against vaccinations. However, I'm not against vaccinations that have been properly researched and gone through the protocol.
Not to be anti-vaccination, which is anti this specific one before it's been tested because it's being rushed through.
You're supposed to really test a vaccine for 5 years before you even start to bring it out. Obviously, that's not possible with this vaccine. So, I know for myself, because I'm quite young, and we will probably won't get it for another 5 years anyway. But I'm gonna wait at least some years, at least a year or 2, because I just want to make sure the side effects of this vaccine aren't bad. But I don't know. I'm happy this is a possibility, of course. But then if a lot of young people are thinking the same as us, I don't believe this whole tracking thing. I agree with people saying the vaccine tracking, and then you're going to use your phones and stuff. My mobile will track me more than a vaccine, and
Well, no,
but I do
if it was true, the vaccine would, but it's not true. It's a conspiracy theory.
Exactly.
It's stupid.
So, am I kind of medical reasons behind possibly not getting it? But even then, it depends on if you have to get the vaccine to be able to do certain things, and if it's going to improve my quality of life, then yes. If I'm going to be stuck in isolation for the next 5 years, I don't know.
Yeah, because the only
they can't make it mandatory.
Is that it might give you COVID or do that kind of damage to your system that COVID's doing.
Yeah,
and which is the main risk.
So I guess we'll see. Do you have anything else you want to say? Any final few words?
No.
No.
Just that this will be an interesting Christmas.
I know it will be. I can't. To be fair, it's quite an interesting topic to talk about. Mm-hmm. We have a few more topics that are interesting right now. The US president.
So
election.
Someone here wanted to talk about the US election.
I think we should, but in a different episode. We haven't got time in this episode. It's very too deep. But what's your guys' thought?
Wait, what?
If you have any questions
back
you want us
home.
to answer about the US election, put them down below. Obviously, we were both not from the US, so our points will probably be the most unbiased points you'll ever see or hear. Yeah, I really want to relate to like some of what people are saying more than anything. So if you would be interested in the episode, please let us know down below. Anything else you want to put in before I end it?
No, that seems to be all. Also, really sorry about my voice at the end.
Go and check out Charlotte's gaming channel, Cosmo Pop Games. Especially my favourite series that she does, which is Stardew Valley. I don't know why it's my favourite, but just
Because all she does is advertise this on it.
And yeah, exactly. It's like my little advertising thing for this podcast. I thought I'll swap it around today and I'll advertise Stardew on this. But thank you guys so much for watching. Go and check out our Twitters. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next podcast. Goodbye. Do you want to say goodbye to them? Bye, guys.
Hey, I did.